Good morning. Being here now. Hearing these words for the first time. Realizing that this sense of understanding we're sharing is much more than just in this moment. It is the result of a history of learning begun literally before we leave our mother's womb. We hear words through the vibrations and perhaps even the sounds as we linger in our mother's wombs, becoming familiar with sound, with the feeling of sound. Taking nothing for granted is better than taking everything for granted. Being aware, being alert, awakening to one's potential. We can explore our past, realize how we have learned to communicate, to respond, to understand. We can, with this knowledge, change ourselves in more positive ways than negative. We can learn lessons about life. We can learn lessons about behavior, how we interact with ourselves, with everything beyond ourselves, our friends, our family, our acquaintances, everything we do. It need not just be people. It can be subject matters in working. What is one's relationship to these different kinds of pursuits, one's hobbies? The thread each of these carries is practice. One facilitates, creates habits and rituals. One has the potential for self-improvement by practicing, by doing whatever it is that we are pursuing. More than just one time, but several times as we begin. And as we continue, as we exhibit a sense of discipline and persistence, perseverance, we continue to practice more. And in doing so, we hone the edge of our beings, of our abilities to do what we're setting out to accomplish, our goals, aspirations, self-affirmations of whom, what, where, when, why, and how we are, how we view the world. It is a lot we do. We find ourselves on the top of a pyramid of being, the very top. And that which is beneath us is oftentimes possibly neglected or certainly most of the time ignored. And yet it is the very foundation of our beings, alive, aware, participating in this world we are all in. There's a lot to think about. Yes, we have a perspective we can fall back upon and say in response to these thoughts, oh, but you're looking around the periphery. I'm speaking about looking inside. It is easy to look in, or easier to look into a mirror and see the flesh one can see, but to consider everything beneath one's skin is of a much greater depth. This is what we're talking about. When one sees at an evening's opportunity of gazing into the sky and being able to see stars, what are we thinking? Are we just being amazed feeling a sense of reverence, awe? Are we capturing this sense of not being overwhelmed, but being contemplative of the size of our universe? What of the depth of each one of these suns we're seeing afar? The planets that may or may not revolve around this star, and the depth greater beyond. Is there life? What is the physical, chemical composition of everything? The planets, their atmospheres, if they have one, of the actual minerals and elements which are comprised and associated with these structures. What are their ages? What are their distances? You see, it is all a different level of perception, of perceptivity. What are you viewing? Is it just a bunch of lights dotting the sky? What is the potential behind one's optic nerves relaying this sensitivity to one's brain, to one's left and right cerebrums? It is amazing, for sure. Doing the best we can, being here now, is a great beginning. For finding one's own foundation gives us an opportunity to stand figuratively strong upon our foundation, to be able to step up, to move ahead, to even climb a ladder, because we have it securely planted. This is a goal of accumulating enough mental discipline, fortitude, perseverance, objectivity, virtues, practice, to be able to do this. It is what separates greater degrees or lesser degrees of success, of self-realization, illumination, revelation. What is the revelation one is having right now about oneself? Framing it in such a way which it is positive, helpful, supportive, just like one's foundation of physicality. This is a goal, to know yourself, to know thyself well enough, to help oneself nurture, to help oneself grow in this life which we share. It is this way. It can be this way. It is a goal one can seed in oneself and nurture and grow. It is one's practice. It is what we are doing here in mindful meditation. Bundles of miracles could be added to any and all names, endowed by our Creator with a myriad of capabilities as defined by our DNAs. Our DNA, which is millions, billions of years old. It is a succession of generations upon generations of all which has come before us over time upon this place, this planet, circumnavigating in an elliptical orbit around this sun, Sol, 93 million miles away. That's us. allowing oneself to be kind and to be virtuous, to self-affirm within oneself strength of character, of possibility, of harmony, of cheerfulness and grace, feeling a sense of deep peace, a sense of fortitude, a sense of wonder at everything there is. We can have a perspective on. Science has given us reason to have an inkling of understanding about so much today, and so much more to become, to grow, utilizing our God-given talents to propel ourselves more. This is what's going on in our world, generation by generation, century by century. It is a positive momentum. We need to keep track of it. We need to discipline and facilitate a continuation of the harmony and grace of our world, not only inside of one's own being, in one's soul, in one's cave, in one's home, in one's meditation location. It is in everywhere one can call home. Being thankful. Being thankful for whom we are, for what our potential is, for where we have come from, and where mankind's possibilities lie. Each of us, certainly each of us here, are making steps in the right direction. And yet it is easy to understand when we widen our perspective. The way is not clear. It is rocky in some places, and the path zigs and zags. It is the way the universe is, changing constantly. We need be always flexible and adaptive, open to the changes going on. Open-minded is the word used. The music's going to continue for another minute. I am asking you to linger, considering these thoughts, this discussion, and wish you a fabulous day and weekend in smiling grace and satisfaction of one's progress in one's life. Namaste.